relive the adventure here. Well, this is the final fire starting method for this course of videos this month. So the bow drill, I'm sure you can look up a lot about the history of the bow drill and all that. What I wanted to go over is the pros and cons, how to do it, the basics of how to do it. There's going to be 2 videos that I'm going to release that will actually show the process of building the bow drill set. So you guys have to stay tuned to that this week. So there's going to be one where I go out with Tyler from T-Jack Survival. We go and do it when it's snowing, a really wet snow. It was just horrible conditions. And then there's another one where I go out and build the bow drill set on my own, and I create a fire, cook some bacon up. So those 2 are going to be coming out this week, so stay tuned to those. They're a little lengthy because the process behind building the bow drill is not by any means a very quick process. It takes time and it takes energy. That's the one thing that you got to understand about the bow drill is once you have your bow drill set, then it's much easier to create the friction fire. The whole process of cutting up the hearth board, the spindle, breaking them down and carving them uses up a lot of energy. So why would anyone want to do the bow drill? Honestly, it's not the most efficient means to make fire. But if you are down in a situation, a survival situation where all you have is a knife, you can make a bow drill, you can make fire. So having that skill, having that experience is important. Yet no one wants to go and use the bow drill as their means of fire every single time they go out in the woods because it takes time, takes effort, it uses a lot more energy. But a lot of bushcrafters do go out and they practice it because it's fun and it's an accomplishment just to be able to do it with the different materials. If you just go out and use the materials that are around you and then making a fire, it's kind of like it's an accomplishment, a feel-good accomplishment. And for me, that's kind of how it was when I got fire the first time. It was really amazing. And the videos that I'm going to post this week are me learning the bow drill for the first time with Tyler. He actually showed me how to do it, took me through the steps. And then the second video is when I did it out in the field, built it from scratch on my own. But you'll get to see my reaction and everything. It's one of those things that when you do it the first time, you almost want to just videotape it so that you can see your reaction when you get fire the first time. So for me, it was a really awesome experience to make fire with a bow drill. The pros of the bow drill: you have an unlimited source of fuel. You have an unlimited ignition source. Since you can create a new spindle when you go through that, you can create a new hearth board when you go through that. You can create a new bow if you need to. I have not made the bow from natural resources, but I've made it from paracord. But you can actually use materials that can create rope and then use that. At some point in time, I'd like to be able to do that. But right now, I've started with the basics. I can create fire with my bow drill set, and that's enough of it for me right now, because usually you do have some sort of paracord, shoelaces, or something on you that you can use if you were in a survival situation, stuck in the forest and you needed fire. Cons of the bow drill: obviously weather is an issue, but as long as you have shelter, you still should be able to make fire with a bow drill. I even had my spindle fly into the water while I was bow drilling, got it soaking wet, and then I went and continued, and I was able to burn that water out just from the friction that was happening with the bow drill and create an ember right after that. So water getting on the spindle isn't an issue. You can burn that out through the friction that you're creating when you're drilling. Some things you may want to avoid while you're doing the bow drill is do not choose a wood that is very resinous. Choosing a resinous wood is a bad idea. It can cause you just lots of smoke and no ember. For the hearth board and the drill, you can use the same material for the both. The bow usually is taken from a green sapling, so it is more bendable and it's not going to very likely break. You also want to make sure it's almost straight. In my actual success video, when I built my own bow drill, I made it way too bendy. It was too arced, and I noticed that there was more flopping around when I was doing the bow drill. It just sort of would shake around, and that was because the bow was too bent. So these are the pieces of it. You usually want your drill to be about thumb width there. This one's a little bit smaller, but it works just fine. The hearth board is usually about a 2x4, however long you want it to be. There's a number of different ways you can drill. Usually the most basic one is to drill down. What you do is called burning in, and so you burn down a little bit and then you cut a notch in here, and that causes it so all the char that you build up while drilling collects, and then as soon as you get it hot enough, that char will light up and create an ember. So that's the bow drill set. Usually the socket, for the socket you can use whatever wood scraps you have left over when you built your bow drill, or try and find a rock. I don't have one around here. You find a rock with a divot in it that you can place your pointy end of your spindle in. So the main thing with the spindle is you want to make sure that it's a duller end on the side that goes into the hearth board, and you want to make sure that the side that goes into the socket in your hand, that one's pointy. And over time you're going to have to keep shaving it down, and it's going to get smaller and smaller, and as soon as it's too small, it usually should be about your shin height when you start with your spindle, and as it gets lower and lower, it's going to get harder and harder to use that spindle, and at some point you're going to have to retire it and just use it as firewood or something. So that is the bow drill. And like I said, you'll get a full explanation of how to build this kit here in the next two videos. I've seen some people do it where they just put one loop on the spindle, and I've also seen Tyler do it where he puts like three times, and the reason for that is it gets more grip on the spindle. So if you're having a hard time and the spindle is slipping with your paracord, you may want to loop it more than once. So that is the basics of the bow drill. Like I said, I'm not going to try and get too much into the in depth with technique and nuances of this. It's more of a means to inform you of how the bow drill works, how to build a bow drill set, and then some people can even go out and try it. So let's go ahead and create an ember, and I'll show you. I like to spit in the inside this here, though it's not really that much more effective. Just helps it a little bit. So we've got our ember. The wind's really getting it going though. Let's get some more of this cambium layer. Some of this is a little wet that I just gathered. The ember's really going though. So let's see if we can get this to make fire. So we're going to transfer the ember into here. Get as much as that char as possible. Oh, I think I killed it. I should have had my nest ready. Well, I ended up just blowing through this one, but I got the ember. So it smolders like that in the beginning. You let it kind of get some air and then it catches on really nice and hot. All right, get this nice and fluffy. So right now the wind's actually doing a lot of the work. Once this starts getting going, we're gonna have to blow hard. And then we got fire. Easy enough. That is fire with the bow drill. Well guys, that has been fire with the bow drill. It's a very fun activity. It requires a little bit of energy, but it's a very primitive way to make fire. I want you guys to know I'm very thankful for the support in the channel. I hope that you guys are enjoying these videos in March. Next month in April, we're going to start covering traps and snares. We'll go over some of the easy ones, some of the ones that just anyone can learn. And as always, we're going to have a giveaway at the end of that one as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video showing you how to do the bow drill, the pros and cons of the bow drill, and later on this week I'm going to post the other 2 videos that show how to build the bow drill set and how to make fire with it. Also how to fail, but failing is part of the process. So I hope you guys enjoyed this series of basic fire essentials to bushcraft. Any newbie can learn these. It's not impossible. So just go out and try it for yourselves. You'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. As always, up here, subscribe button, up here, video. And thanks for joining Live the Adventure. Find your adventure. So later on in the week, I'm going to post the giveaway video, and I will see you on the next one.